Hello and welcome to Seder Soul Sailing. On this channel we do tarot readings, astrology, and predictions for world events, countries, cooperations, and any situations that might be affecting the collective.
Today's reading is about the future of the United States, specifically about the Union part of the United States. There's so much turmoil in the United States that we can see a situation where the states divide away from the Union, which, as we know, has happened before.
So the question is whether the United States will stay united or if it will split up into different sovereign states. So aside from doing these collective readings, we also do personal readings. And if you're interested in having one, we're having an ongoing giveaway on our Facebook channel. We'll be giving away free tarot readings until the 22nd of December. So I recommend you to start by subscribing down below and give this video a like. So with that said, let's get to the reading. So first of all, we got our signifier, and this time it's the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the United States right now. In the China reading we did, we got a King card, and here we got a Knight, this is a bit of a younger nation, and it's the Pentacles, which speaks to how the US truly values its money, its financials.
The US is built on money. As an empire. 200 years ago, the British built their empire on their naval strength. 100 years ago, the U.S. began building its empire based on the strength of its currency. And that's been pretty much our main tool in maintaining our empire throughout the world. People say it's because of our military, carrot and the stick sort of thing. But really, without the currency, we have no military.
Now that the currency is being challenged, that begs the question whether that will be the end of the Union. It was really fascinating for us to see the overall situation card. We got the Star, and we thought about this for a moment, and then we realized that there were 7 small stars in this card and then one big one. And it represents, it's a spiritual card in many ways, but I think it is a very direct message that truly relates to an insight that Darwin had not too long ago.
In March of 2023, when we were first starting to hear about potential lockdowns, I just returned to the United States from Thailand when all this was happening, and I had some strange things happen to me, and I started getting things coming to me. I guess you'd call them visions or downloads. I hate to use those terms, but what happened was so many of them have come true since then, more than I would have ever expected, to the point where I don't dismiss them. I'm not saying you should abide by them, but I think the cards are kind of agreeing with them. One of the things I saw happening is related to this card. I saw the United States dividing as a nation, the Union breaking up, and the United States breaking into 7 individual nation states, each with its own military based on the states that joined each of those 7 groups, combining their national guards. And the Union, the federal government sort of survived as sort of a relic on basically between the coastal area between Boston and Washington, D.C., and that was not a happy place, not a happy area. But the reason that this card struck me so much is this is the 17 of the major arcana, but for some reason it has 1 major star surrounded by 7 individual stars. And I see this as the situation as the 7 nation states that I saw developing from the nations forming coalitions together, breaking away from the central union. And
so divided but sovereign, I'm thinking. It's very positive cards. I think it's also hinting to, aside from the numbers itself, that yes, it's going to be divided, but that ultimately that will be a positive thing in long run. So normally we would go straight to the gateway card, but we want to talk about the fears and desires first. First of all, we got the fears, and I laughed a bit when I saw this. No, I shouldn't say that.
She's Norwegian, so it's more funny for her than it is for a lot of us.
Okay, so it's a bit amusing because we got the 7 of Cups as the fear, and it's modified by the King of Wands. And we know that Joe Biden is a Sagittarius. He is the current president, the current figurehead anyways. And the 7 of Cups really represents delusions, confusions, and making some strange decisions because you're not seeing clearly. And this can speak to different things, but I think it kind of speaks to people's disconfidence in him and his, well, what looks like dementia or Alzheimer's. Like, this is, if there's a dementia card, I'd say it's the Seven of Cups. And it doesn't always represent that, but in this case, I think they're fearing weak leadership, and that there is a man that is very confused about where he is and what he's doing, and that the fate of the country is in his hands.
We looked at the astrology for Joe Biden, and right now what's happening to Joe Biden ties in perfectly with confusion and not knowing where we're going, and people being afraid that we don't know where we're going.
He's taking you across a cliff.
It really ties in with this Seven of Cups, the confusion, people being afraid of confusion, and Joe Biden, the Sagittarius king we have right now. Pluto squaring Biden's natal moon right now is exploding his personal life, completely disrupting the foundation of his psyche. He's being forced to pay for past inappropriate behavior patterns, behaviors driven by sick compulsions and irrational urges, such as his predilection for sniffing women's hair or something like that. He's trying to avoid the consequences of his perverse compulsions using subversive tactics and manipulation, but everyone sees through that and understands exactly what's happening. This will shatter both his public life as well as his closest familial relationships, perhaps bringing down family members along with him. Not mention any names, but I think we know what that's referring to. Uranus is also opposing Biden's natal Mercury. This accelerates the pace of events in his life to the point that he can't keep track of what's happening, exhausting him mentally and destroying his nervous system. Anxiety will cause his thinking to become mentally fragmented, leaving him unable to make even the simplest decision. In Biden's case, this might also involve age-related dementia as much as planetary energies. Saturn squaring Biden's natal Uranus is creating such great tensions in his life that it may cause him to take radical and destructive actions that no one anticipates, such as starting a war or declaring martial law. He might try to endure these pressures, but it will take a toll on his health. Because he's utterly unconscious of the need for change in his life, he won't be expecting these events and won't be prepared to withstand them. Because he'll handle this situation so poorly, he's likely to resign as president before the next election, or even be successfully impeached and removed from office.
And we did do a U.S. election reading back in August, and, well, it looked like it might be a kind of a strange and dramatic election in 2024. So you should check that out if you're interested to know more about that.
We weren't even sure, from that reading, we weren't even sure if there's going to be an election.
No.
We thought there's a possibility of declaring martial law and postponing the elections in 2024.
Oops, another pandemic. We'll see.
Or
whatever they come up with.
See, they've tried war with Ukraine. They've tried war with, I don't know who the hell the enemy is in Gaza, because it's not like it's a military.
No.
It's a prison camp. Iran doesn't seem to be selling as a war, so who knows? Maybe we'll go to war with Greenland.
Or aliens.
Aliens.
That's coming too. Anyways, so right now, this is so unsurprising. I mean, we got the Seven of Swords as the present moment. This is the government, I believe, trying to get away with something. And what else is new? It's quite obvious, and it's so many things, right? And it's kind of them trying to cover their own tracks and make it look like everything is going as it should, and that they're doing a great job. But people are really starting to see through it.
They've left some loose ends, and it's going to bite them in the ass. What's going to happen is this is all based on the Eight of Swords.
This is the root card.
The root card.
For the situation.
This is us, basically the people. We think we're trapped. We think we're trapped to this corrupt government. We're crazy economic policies and starting wars willy-nilly. But we're the only ones keeping ourselves trapped. The only reason they're able to control us is because we give them our personal sovereignty. We have the power to shake off the ties that bind us and walk right out of this imaginary prison that these swords represent.
What's interesting, this whole nation is built upon money, right? And that's in a desire position too. People want to go back to having financial stability. They want a new financial beginning. But that is also what's keeping them trapped because it's so limited. And this card, it's modified by the Ten of Cups, which is the domestic bliss card. It's having everything you need. And I think this is speaking to the fact that people have been so focused on money in the US because they've been indoctrinated to do so, because that's what the nation is built upon, that when the money is leaking, when the financial system is collapsing, they're unable to attain this too, and they don't see the opportunity for the old system to go away in order to like actually enjoy a family life, what they deep down want.
People are equating money with happiness, and to the point they're excluding human relationship. We don't value our home as a place where we can love our family and take care of our family and ourselves and eat together and play together and love each other. We value our homes based on the dollar value of the home, as if somehow we could trade it for dollars and live in the paper house that we built out of that paper money. We need to realize that that's just a dream, that's just an illusion, because it's the quality of the life that takes place in that home that has value. It's not the fiat currency that you can trade that house for.
So the American dream, the American delusion kind of needs to change. And that's the energy that's coming in now. We got the King of Cups modified by the Six of Swords. And the King of Cups, that's kind of stepping away from the Knight of Pentacles energy, going into more mature energy and also more spiritual energy. The King of Cups is much more family oriented. It's much more spiritual. It's much more feeling into what truly matters. Rather than, you see, the Knight of Pentacles is so concerned about his pentacle and doing his day-to-day work, slow, steady progress, climbing the ladder, that it's been missing out on what truly matters. And that's what we're being challenged to do here. The Six of Swords is a transit card. It's calmer waters, moving from an old thing to a new thing, and not really knowing what's on the other side, but that's what people are being encouraged to do. We looked at two birth charts this time. Joe Biden's, which we did already, and for the US. So Darwin's gonna read that to you.
Pluto is almost exactly conjunct the natal Pluto in the United States birth chart right now. This transit began on January 11th, 2019, was exact in February of 2022 when NATO backed the Ukraine in its disastrous war with Russia, and is still within 1 minute of exactly conjunct. For the United States, this Pluto return has manifested primarily in economics because Pluto is in the second house of the U.S. birth chart, which affects areas of life related to material possessions and finances. This house reflects how the United States handles its resources, both tangible and intangible. Spending billions of tax dollars in support of a cross-dressing neo-Nazi leader of a small country in an impossible war against Russia might be a good example of long sentence. Spending billions of tax dollars supporting a cross-dressing neo-Nazi leader of a small country in an impossible war against Russia might be a good example of pissing away both tangible and intangible resources. Another symptom of the U.S. Pluto return is the growing mood of social unrest in the country, which seems to be fostering an atmosphere that feels like it could lead to a civil war. We're seeing an extreme level of anger and unrest caused by the Biden administration's incomprehensible open border policy, its incompetent handling of the economy, and the fact that the president himself appears to be senile at best and quite possibly corrupt. The fact that this is occurring in Capricorn strongly indicates that the country will be rocked by some sort of explosive scandal, something that sees prominent individuals like the president being destroyed by corruption, sex crimes, and possibly even treasonous activities.
Oy.
I think that really relates to the star as the overall situation, because this is not good for the Union, but
it's good for the individual states.
This is not good for the Union, but the individual states themselves could become thriving nation states and beautiful places to live. The United States is an amazing, beautiful country with an extremely corrupt and corrosive government. Get rid of the government and let the people take care of themselves. Go back to the system that the original Constitution described, which was sovereign states forming a loose union. And I think we could have a really beautiful place to live. But we could be living like this woman in the star card.
Naked and happy. In order to get there, our gateway card is the Five of Cups. This is the crying over spilt milk card, as I see it. And I think that's the energy people have to move through. Coming to terms with what we have to leave behind, what's been lost. Giving up on this idea of this huge, powerful country and kind of focusing on what we still have. And in this card, we see the person is focusing on these 3 cups that have been spilled, and we got these 2 cups behind her that she's not paying attention to. And I think this means that people, if the union splits, which this reading really indicates, they should try to move through this energy gracefully in order to get to the other side.
To get there, the psychological future is the moon. This is shadow work. To get there, we have to face our fears, we have to face our traumas, and we have to process that pain we've been through and emerge stronger with our own personal sovereignty, where we are our own leaders and not some hair-sniffing dude in Washington.
I think the moon card in the psychological future also speaks to people really feeling into all these secrets that are being revealed. See the lobsters coming out of the water. This might be, I don't know if it's going to be state secrets, but people are beginning to see things clearly under the light of the moon, how things really are. And they're waking up from this dream or this nightmare, which it's turning into, and they have to process that and really go into themselves and see which ways they've been fooled and manipulated and kind of brainwashed for a long time. And when people go through this, in the future card we got the Hierophant. I think this is the government's last attempt to maintain its power. This is them executing this, well, sometimes it's dogmatic, and I'm not sure if it's going to have to do with religion, but they might even scare people with religion or something else. Have them focus on the old values and have them kind of feel attached to this parental energy almost. Because even though people are mad at the government and they get frustrated, they still feel attached to it. They still feel attached to like having this big brother taking care of them in a way.
I agree with what you say, but I see another side to the Hierophant. I think this is telling us that our future, we're going to get to our future by looking at our past, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, sure, we had, slavery, genocide of the native indigenous population, the horrors amongst horrors, all these wars we've been fighting, these monstrous genocidal countries we've been supporting. But there's much good that we can have from the past too. There's much good in all aspects of traditional systems like religion. There's a lot of bad things that have come from religion. I mean, religion's been used to decimate people throughout history. But at the same time, there's some good core values that we really need to look at. We need to look at the golden rule. Every religion, every spiritual system in history has followed one version of the golden rule, and that's do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That's the only rule in alchemy, is don't do anything to other people that you wouldn't want somebody to do to you. We can find value in all kinds of structures, religion, even governmental structures. Supporting countries that are committing genocide, not good.
Probably not. Bring that into the New World.
Removing the garbage, or not generating too much garbage in the first place. Providing some kind of a health care for when people break a leg or something like that. There's good things to be had in organized structures. So we maybe need to look to our past a little bit to really understand what our future is, and choose the things that have value and discard the things that were only in place for control and slavery.
We got a pretty good final outcome card, and it's the Three of Cups, which has to do with celebrations, happiness. And I really believe that this comes after, realizing that these cups are right behind you. You have to pick them up.
Yeah, quit focusing on the money aspect that we've lost and look at the spiritual aspect that we're being encouraged to do with the astrological energy right now.
I feel like the cards are saying the same thing in all the different sentences there, because again, we got the modifier for the Three of Cups is the Eight of Cups, And this is also a transition card. It also has to do with undergoing a journey where you leave something behind to find something better. And the cups are always emotional and spiritual. On both sides of this spread, we see travel cards, right? So people are really going to be kind of forced in a way to walk away from the old, whether they want to or not. And the more resistance they feel towards that, the harder that trans is going to be. But ultimately, in the end, and I don't know how long this is going to take, we're going to end up here. We're going to be happy that we went through this transition, and we're going to be happy that we're these separate stars instead of taking part of this big cluster. So overall, very strong indications that yes, it's going to split up. In which manner, to which degree, hard to say, but it's definitely not going to stay as it were. And exactly how long this is going to take, we don't know, but it might not take too many years.
Astrologically, if you look at long-term transits that are taking place, long-term planetary interactions, astrologically, 2024 is probably going to still be a pretty whacked out year, and maybe even 2025. We should start to see glimmers of hope on the horizon, even in 2024. I mean, we'll see old corrupt structures collapsing, but we'll be able to see possibilities of building new worlds that are just more beautiful than we can ever dream. We just need to quit focusing on what we've lost and see what we really have available. We need to own our own personal sovereignty and take control of our own lives and make those lives what they can be. And that's when we can come into the star energy.
That's all we have to say for today. In next week's reading, we'll be talking about the World Economic Forum, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard about.
We had fun with that one.
We had a lot of fun with that one. Klaus, however, probably wouldn't like it very much. So yeah, please like and subscribe. If you have any topic you want us to cover, comment below. We currently do have a very long list, but we'll definitely add your suggestion if it's interesting and if the cards have a clear message about it.
And remember to check out our Facebook page and subscribe to the channel and maybe make a comment, and we'll put you in the drawing for the free Seder Soul Sailing reading.
Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in our next video.